If you're familiar with my channel, you know that I like to do the whole cloning thing or the near cloning thing. Some of them are better than others, right? But I wanted to talk today about my clones. I wanted to rate them myself based on the vibes, the clone correctness of them, and just my general opinion on the gun. So what we've got set up here is a little bit of a NCAA bracket tournament style little thing where we're going to go through each of the clones, we're going to talk briefly about them, and then we're going to put them versus each other. I think that's going to be kind of a fun little thing to do, and we'll see which clone of mine is the favorite. I know I do a lot of Call of Duty clones, I do a lot of Battlefield stuff. Right now I've just been on a Call of Duty kick mainly. And the reason for that is because I played so much Call of Duty and Battlefield growing up. Those were my favorite shooters, you know. I know there's stuff like Fallout, there's stuff like Far Cry. I have ideas for so many different other games that I did play as well. I just have not gotten to that yet. I just have a checklist right now of Call of Duty guns I want to do first, and then once I knock those out, then we can move on to like some of those niche projects, because like I want to visit, for example, Medal of Honor, right? I played some of those, the modern ones, and I want to maybe talk about some of those at some point, and I know you guys want to see content like that too. Many of you have asked about the Modern Warfare 2 AK. We will be getting to that. The stars have not aligned yet. I'm still waiting on some stuff. I already know what the video is going to look like. I already have an opinion on the AK. It's going to be a good video, right? It's all in my mind. I just got to make that for you, and I just haven't done it yet. I'm hoping for around maybe middle of next month. Let's talk about the bracket. Okay. So I've got 13 different clones. I think 13, right? Yeah, 13 different clones. We can talk about it briefly. You guys will see some B-roll. It should be a fun time. All right, number one, the Cold War M16A2 versus the Black Ops 6 XM4. Now, the M16A2 that I have is actually a Davidson Defense A2 that they sent out to me. They were really nice. You know, Davidson Defense has been kind to me. I actually have another gun of theirs that I need to do a video on that we'll do at some point. But they sent me this A2 out, and they said, hey, you know, we know you like retro stuff. This is on us. Have fun. We did a little like Panama-esque style video with an old VHS or an old camcorder, which was pretty fun. And I used the Call of Duty Cold War music. Now, it's not a clone of the Cold War A2, and as an M16A2 clone, it's not very good at that either. It's got a heavy barrel, which if you know about the A2, it doesn't have a heavy barrel. It has a government profile, which is skinny under the handguards, and then it gets a little bit thicker out front. So it's not correct for an actual A2, and it's not correct for Cold War either. So I would actually give that a rating of like 5. It's a very average sort of clone. To normies, they might see it and go, that looks like an old 80s G.I. Joe style of gun, and they would be correct. But for the more autistic, you look at those finer details and it kind of bothers you and you goes, that's not really correct. That's kind of how I feel about the quote-unquote Cold War A2. It's not a real clone. Now compare that to the one it's going up against, which is the Black Ops 6 XM4. Now, the Black Ops 6 XM4 is something that I was really excited about. I really wanted Black Ops 6 to succeed. It had that 90s setting. You know, I was on a big retro AR kick at the time, and I thought, hey, this is perfect, right? This is right up my alley. I love COD. I love the 90s. I love the retro AR. This is going to be awesome. This game's going to be cool. I just hope they stick to that aesthetic. Maybe they'll give us like a Randy Shugart skin and a Gary Gordon stuff. Maybe they'll do more Delta, or they'll have some cool Milsim skins the way 2019 did. I was sadly mistaken. Black Ops 6 is a complete disaster. The aesthetic of Call of Duty is getting worse and worse. Ever since Epstein decided that we needed microtransaction in the game, it has been downhill ever since. If you remember Call of Duty Ghosts, you remember that that game had a lot of really bad microtransactions in it, and that was kind of the beginning of the end, which was in 2013. I actually have the XM4 here. I'm actually holding that pretty awkwardly. I'm trying to figure out how to hold this thing. I don't know what to do with my hands. So we have the XM4 here. Now I have changed the configuration of it a little bit, but I think that this gun is pretty awesome. The free float tube handguard is not just a thing in the game, it is a real thing as well. I know Michael NoH on Instagram does a lot of clones with uppers like this, and he's pretty much the only other guy I've ever seen do it, and honestly, I got a lot of the idea from him and because of Black Ops 6. It was cool to see, again, the stars aligned for that to happen the way it did. And building this, I might be the only guy on YouTube that has a clone of that gun, or of have a tube upper like this at all. So it is a fairly accurate depiction of what you can do in Black Ops 6. The base gun is just a Model 723 with a 16-inch barrel, but you can get the tube handguard on it. You can get an optic like this, and you can get what they call the combat stock, which is like a John Mason pad and a Cherokee cheek riser. This is a Hammy because Hammy recreated them. So if you're looking for like an old style cheek riser, Hammy's gonna be your boy. I threw like a QXL dive light on there, and I threw this flared magwell, so it's not really clone correct in this configuration for Black Ops 6, but I think in the video it was pretty dang close. I would probably give it like a 8 out of 10. I don't have as many holes drilled inside the tube handguard itself, but it was a really fun project to do. But it's one of the first free-floated AR-15s out there, so it's got all the functionality of like a modern AR with the older aesthetic, and I really appreciate it for that. So now when it comes to A2 versus the XM4, who's going to win? Well, it's going to obviously be the Black Ops 6 XM4. So submit the scores, and we are going to address the A3 versus Black Ops 6 XM4 here in a little bit. So the Black Ops Commando versus the 2019 Mark 18. This is really tough, okay? So Black Ops Commando I did a video on, and it's one of my better clones, I think. It's not my best one, but I think it is a better one because I took the time to really focus on the upper receiver on that build. The upper, if you're not familiar with Black Ops, get off the channel if you've never played Black Ops, right? But if you are not familiar or you don't remember, it's basically a quote-unquote flat top upper. And what that means is that there's no Picatinny rail on top. It's just like completely smooth. It's got a Troy rear sight, and then on the side it has no brass deflector and no forward assist. So what I ended up doing was getting a normal flat top upper with pick rail on top, and it had no forward assist, but it did have a brass deflector. So I took a Dremel and I completely removed the brass deflector and kind of sculpted the side of it to look exactly like I wanted to, and it came out really, really cool. Additionally, my friend Matt printed me a, not Hammy doesn't make this. I know people ask about this piece of rail cover, essentially, is what this guy printed for me. But what it is a rail cover that just slides and covers up the rest of the Picatinny to give it a flat top appearance with the Troy rear sight. So it looks really good, just like the game does. But Hammy doesn't make that. That's my friend made that, and he doesn't have any intention on making any more of those. He's not really a 3D printer. He was just like doing it for fun. So, you know, that upper itself pretty much makes the build. Past that, you know, you have the 11.5 barrel with the Harbinger muzzle device. You could really also use something like a XM177 moderator and chop that down a little bit, or use like the TIA moderator to get the look of the game. But I would also dock points for myself because the lower is a modern like M4 like style lower. In game, it would be a like no fence lower. So dock points for myself on that. Now the sling, I would add some points because the sling is wrapped correctly. That thing would not stay without rubber bands or hot glue though, so that was kind of a challenge. But you got to get the sling. If you're going to do the Black Ops Commando, you got to get the sling. You got to wrap it the way it is. It does not impede the use of the bolt because it is tucked behind the bolt release. I know people were like, oh, you can't use the bolt release, whatever. Like, yeah, you just glue it up to the side of the receiver and it's fine. But it is a pain in the butt to walk around with that because you're constantly like, all right, I don't want this thing to fall apart for the video. I got to wrap it up and glue it and stuff. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but you got to do that to get it accurate. Now, people ask me, well, what's a sling? What is it? It's like, dude, I don't know what the sling is. I got it like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago at some gun store. It was probably just some cheap 1-inch nylon sling. Like, just get whatever and do your own wrap if you plan on doing this. Now, as accurate and as good as the Commando clone that did was, it's going up against the Modern Warfare 2019 Mark 18. Not a true Mark 18 because it's an 11.5. However, it's very clearly supposed to be like a CQBR Block 2 style rifle, and this is probably my most accurate one. Okay, it's accurate because of the upper and the lower receiver. They're from Bad Attitude Department, and it has everything that the game has with the exception of one thing. So it's got the FT weapon systems written in white on the upper. It's got all the correct FS15 markings. It's got the -4 that I added there. It's got the just tucked under the rear sight, you have the law enforcement and use, or the military and law enforcement use only with the flag, just like the way it is in game. You know, the dust cover has an American flag. The only thing that this lower is missing that makes it 100% correct would be law enforcement military marking on this side. The game has it. Bad Attitude does not have it on his. If he added it, 100% clone correct. Additionally, I would say I got a lot of the smaller details right, like the silver castle nut, the silver forward assist, nickel boron, bolt carrier group, and then of course that little latch on the BCM Vlator or Veltor, I don't know how you say it. Vlator might be like a Candace Owens pronunciation. You've got, you know, I took a little bit of a Sharpie to make that latch silver because that's how it is in game. It's of course worn off, but That's something that I added to make it a little bit more correct. And then the sights, they're Golden Eagle airsoft sights, but they're supposed to be like the Knights Armament micro flip-ups, which are in the game. When you take this red or the EOTech off, it gives you the same impression that the game does, which is pretty neat. The handguard on this, I would deduct points because it's Coyote Brown, but it is an actual Daniel Defense. When I first made the video, I used like a Chinese one that was black, and it didn't work very well. It wobbled a lot. I know people said, oh, the O-Hunts are fine. They work just great. They don't wobble, whatever, but mine had a lot of issues, so I dumped that thing off. And then of course I threw something like the Troy grip on there, which is in the game, and then I have a Griffin suppressor on top. The Griffin's not in the game. I think the Saker 556 would be a more accurate representation of a suppressor that's in that game. I guess I lose points on the suppressor. The pistol grip has black and tan, the way that it is in the game, and in the magazine I have currently is incorrect. So in the video I took some black PMags and I painted them tan, but I retained the black base plate because that's how it is in the game. Really, I would give, honestly, like this was like a 9.5 out of 10, and the Commando is like an 8. So I love my Commando, but I'm gonna have to choose the Modern Warfare 2019 and Mark 18 because it's just a little bit more clone correct. Sad to see the Commando go out like this, but we just had to do it. Okay, so moving on to the Battlefield 6 M4 A1 and the Modern Warfare 3 M4. This is very ironic because it's basically the same gun. I just rearranged some attachments on it. So originally the gun started off as the Battlefield 6 M4. I really wanted Battlefield 6 to succeed. There's something, it feels good, but something doesn't feel right, okay? It doesn't really feel like a Battlefield game. I think they're using Chinese developers overseas. I don't know what's going on with Battlefield 6. There's really technically nothing wrong with the game, but something doesn't feel right. I don't know if it's the women and the customization, the AI generated stuff that they got going on in there. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but something isn't right. The aesthetic is off, and I wish it wasn't because I love Battlefield, right? I have so many Battlefield clones on this list. I love the franchise. I want it to succeed. Even Battlefield 5 had women in it and stuff like that, but Battlefield 5's gameplay was so solid. The maps were so good. The Pacific, of course, really saved it. I could rant about this all day. Point being, Battlefield 6 feels off, and I don't know what it is, but I really enjoyed the beta. Many of us did, and I got the M4, used the M4 a ton, and I was like, dude, I gotta clone it. So I ended up basically just taking like a normal M4 parts from like Thoroughbred Armament, threw it all together, 14.5-inch barrel, Knights Armament handguard, and then instead of using the Knights Armament front sight gas block, because that thing's like $2,000, I used a Troy, so not 100% clone correct, but it does get the vibe down pretty well. The lower is just standard SBR lower that I use for everything. M4 stock, little white tape on it, good to go. Threw stuff like the Hami 3D prints flared magwell on it, used like the 40 PMag on there. Maytech rear sight. It does have the vibe of the game. It looks like it. I got the writing correct as well. So it's a pretty good clone. Fun video. Didn't perform as well as I thought, but I had fun with it. Now, you take that versus the Modern Warfare 3 M4. I love Modern Warfare 3. Not as much as Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 4, but Modern Warfare 3 is kind of like the Return of the Jedi of the Modern Warfare trilogy. It's not as good as its predecessor, but it gives an ending that is acceptable. It's not all the story beats I wanted or that many of you wanted, but it does end the trilogy relatively well. Not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. But the real highlight for me for Modern Warfare 3 is the Delta Force missions. I love the New York stuff. I wish that the Russian-American War continued a little bit more. It would have been cool to see more points of interest in the United States, other cities. That could have been kind of cool. The New York missions, there's only 2 of them. Black Tuesday and Hunter Killer. And Black Tuesday is the level that I cloned my M4 on. So if you're not familiar with that level, you're like got to go to the stock exchange and you got to destroy a jammer on there. So it's obviously a pretty good mission. If you've never played those Call of Duty games, I encourage you to go do it. But the M4 is pretty iconic, and it's very similar to that Battlefield 6 M4. So with the front sight being the way it is, the one in Modern Warfare 3 is more like a PRI or like an H&K, like hooded, or not hooded, but it's like a U shape as opposed to like the fork of the Yankee Hill front sight that I used, but it's close enough, right? You still got the same handguard, throw that Knight's grip on there, and then you got to throw that EOTech with the magnifier. Now the magnifier might actually be like an earlier EOTech, like G21 or so, or G23, I forget which one it is. I ended up snagging one off Amazon. The real one should probably be in ARMS, so I would deduct some points for myself for that as well. But then you go down to the lower, you got like an A2 grip. In the game, it does not have a nub. Mine has a nub. I guess you could deduct points there. Magpul CTR or MOE stock, and then the 25 round magazines. I think the 25 rounders for this gun and the Black Ops Commando, which I forgot to mention, really make this clone. And then at the bottom of that 25 round magazine, you have the actual little Magpul mag pool, you know. Overall, would I give myself, I'd probably say this gun is like a 6 out of 10 as far as clone correctness. I think I need a new riser, better magnifier, better front sight to really bring that into the next level. And then I would probably need like a pencil barrel and the prop gun muzzle device that the Modern Warfare 3 one has, if you want to do it that way. My philosophy when I approached this video was more so, what would the MW3 M4 look like in real life, as opposed to let's make it as goofy as it looks in MW3. The A4 in that video, or in that game as well, looks really bad, so would I really clone that? I don't know. It's like, at some point you just feel like you're doing stuff that's too silly, but if I wanted to get it 1-to-1, I would probably have to do that. So it's for that reason I give myself a 6 out of 10. Even though the Battlefield 4 M4 is more clone correct than the MW3 gun, I actually like the MW3 one more because I think it's just more iconic. So the MW3 M4 is going to win for me, guys. I hate to do it. Sorry, Battlefield 6, but it's going to be Modern Warfare 3. Next up, alright, MW2 A4 versus Battlefield 3 M4. Both of these guns, I will say, I don't love them that much. The clones that I did of them, specifically, the Modern Warfare 2 M16 A4 is... I made that gun at a time in my life where I felt like Gator in the other guys, where he's sitting there, he's got a grill on, he doesn't know who he is anymore, he feels disconnected, he feels as if he lost himself. That's how I felt when I made the MW2 A4. And why did I feel that way? Well, I felt that way because I bought an Bear Creek Arsenal A4 upper, right? I was on this streak of doing COD clones, and I was like, I gotta give the people something else. I gotta deliver. What do I do? Okay, I was trying to just fund the channel with money made from YouTube, so I was like, I gotta go cheap here. Bear Creek Arsenal A4 upper. And I just felt dirty doing that. I actually don't even have this gun anymore, or this upper. I sold the upper off because I just could not have that. Now, as far as the clone correctness of it goes, well, it's got like the IWI handguard instead of a Knight's Armament quad rail. Now, the IWI in-game has a full-length rail on the side of it. I think at some point IWI made like a 4-sided quad rail, but mine's not. Well, that's what quad is, right? But they made a handguard that was a quad rail. This is like a dual rail. Only the top and bottom have continuous rails, and there's like little sections you can attach on the side. So I had to take like super glue and glue rails onto the side to make it look like a quad rail. So that was kind of goofy. It's like a plastic handguard as well. But the reason that I chose it is because instead of having like the full circles that like the Knight's Armament has, it has like longer like line, like hot dog style holes, dual holes running along the side of the gun. And that looks just like Modern Warfare 2's A4. And then inside the carry handle, there's a tiny piece of pick rail that's sitting in there. And then that's pretty much all it is. I painted mine fall camo. I threw a heartbeat sensor on there. Looks pretty good. Paint job, I just got some stencils and did it myself. But the muzzle device is wrong. And I remember just having that Bear Creek gun, and the proportions felt different than a standard mil-spec rifle. I don't remember the specifics of it, but I remember thinking like, you know, this charging handle's wider than a mil-spec one. This part feels a little bit strange. You know, it was a heavy barrel as well. I just really didn't even like that upper, so I have kind of bad feelings about this video. It didn't perform very well either because it was like kind of rushed, so it's kind of unfortunate, but I would give the MW2 M16A4 like a 7 out of 10. It needs a better rail on it. It needs that actual quad rail from IWI, but I don't even think they make that anymore. And then it probably needs a different muzzle device because that's wrong. And then I would probably throw just like a A2 profile barrel on there, a government profile one, to make it a little bit better. So like a 7 out of 10. You can definitely look at it and you know what it is, but it's just missing some details. Now, moving on to the Battlefield 3 M4. Okay, so this gun, I don't really love this gun. It's also not a very good clone. It's like I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. I think the paint job could have been better. It is correct in the sense that in Battlefield 3, that AR-15 that they're using is a law enforcement one. So I have a law enforcement Colt, so that's what I used. But mine's a 16-inch barrel. I think I'm getting picky where I see a 16-inch barrel on like an M4 and I don't like it. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me. Like, I need a 14.5. So I think that's the reason that I don't really love this. And just like the paint job just didn't look right to me. And then I don't have a Knight's Armament quad rail. I have a Troy instead. So that takes away from the aesthetic as well. So I really just don't love it. It's something that does not sit well with me. I would add some points to myself for having like the Veltor, I don't know how you say it, stock on there, because that's what they have in the game, and then the Hogue grip, and then the magazines with the correct base plates on them, the Magpul base plate. So that it does have that vibe. You know, I threw an EOTech 512 up top as well, so it looks pretty close to like the Operation Swordbreaker, but I just don't love it. I think I'm going to strip the paint off of it and just go back to the original finish because, I don't know, man, I wasn't feeling that one, alright? I just wasn't feeling it. Now, comparing the BF3 M4 to the A4, I'm actually going to go with the A4. As much as I dislike this is the only time you're going to see a Bear Creek win against a Colt, by the way. But as much as I don't really like the A4 and I feel like it was slop, I think the M4 from Battlefield 3 feels more like slop to me, unfortunately. It doesn't hit like the A3. Now, the Battlefield 4 M4 versus the MW2 AK. So, you guys have not seen this video yet, but I've seen it in my head movies. And it's good, alright? I think it's a good video. I have not filmed it yet. I mean, it's just all up here. MW2 M4 versus the BF4 M4. I never actually even did a video on the Battlefield 4 M4. I did a quick mock-up for the Battlefield 4 kit video. I actually got a lot of kit stuff wrong in that video. So I guess that's why I haven't done another kit video, because they're kind of long, hard to edit, and hard to find a lot of information, to be honest. You got to go through so much stuff to try and locate everything. And it's kind of a challenge, to be fair. But in that intro, I had a loose mock-up of the whole thing, and it wasn't correct at all. Wrong stock, wrong grip. All I got right was like the red dot, was like a Trijicon reflex sight. Threw that up top, and I was like, alright, this is good enough. So not really a true clone. I never intended that to be a clone. Because I did it, I kind of threw it on this list here just to have something, so it's not very good. Modern Warfare 2 AK-47 looks way better, so that's going to be the winner here. And of course, we will talk about this gun in the future, I promise. We will do it. Let's go to the next level, alright? The next episode. M16A3 versus Black Ops 6 XM4. I talk about the A3 constantly, so I don't want to talk your ear off again with it. I love the A3. I think it could be a little bit better. Let me grab it. I think it could be a little bit better. Okay, if you really want to get this 100% clone correct, you'd have to throw an A1 flash hider on here. You'd have to Dremel off the bayonet lug. You would also probably get something like the PSA quad rail and stick that on here because it doesn't have these tabs up here. In the game itself, this is not present. There's just rail here instead. So something like the PSA quad rail would actually be maybe even a better base to build an A3 clone than this one. Now, I kind of went the route of what would it look like in real life as opposed to let's get it 100% to the game. You know what I mean? Somebody outside, hold on. Anyway, sorry, there's some random old guy who showed up at my house asking me if I had something. I don't know what it was. It's the South, all right? You don't know what goes on around here. Okay, so the M16A3, yeah, so I got some of those smaller details incorrect, but I think I got the big stuff right where it counts. The wrap stock, iconic. The Hogue grip, the magazine with the Magpul thing at the bottom, the paint job. The paint job could probably be a little bit better if I were going to redo it. I would probably use a lighter shade of tan. With color grading, it can look like Battlefield 3 because you got to remember these games also have color grading, like movies. So it has a really aggressive blue filter on it. And then Battlefield 4 is kind of like Battlefield 3 without that blue filter. So people have gone in and they've removed the filter from BF3, and it kind of looks like BF4. I'm going to be generous here. 9 out of 10. It's missing 1 point because it could use a little bit of tweaks to get it up to the perfect clone. Now, versus the Black Ops 6 XM4, what am I going to choose? I got to choose my A3. I just love it. I think the XM4 is cool too, but I love Battlefield 3 more, so it's going to have to be the winner in this instance. Okay, next up, Modern Warfare 2019 Mark 18 versus the MW3 M4. This is tough because I like Modern Warfare 3 more than 2019, but I think the Modern Warfare 2019 Mark 18 is better. It's just more clone correct. That upper and that lower are perfect. Bad Attitude does a phenomenal job. He also makes a clone correct lower for the Battlefield 6 gun. I don't have that one. I do intend on getting one though in the future, but yeah, I would say that it's gonna have to be the Modern Warfare 2019 Mark 18 in this instance. I love the M4 from MW3, but I think I just lost a little bit too. I lost too many points going through and using like the wrong riser, the wrong barrel, the wrong magnifier. You know, I just lost a lot of points there. Even if the vibes were there, the clone correctness was not, unfortunately. Okay, CoD4 M4 Carbine versus the MW2 A4. I have not talked about the CoD4 M4 Carbine yet. Call of Duty 4, love that game. It's one of my favorites. They're all my favorite, really. But I've done 2 separate videos on the CoD M4. So I did one back in the day with like a BKF rifle, not really clone correct, but that was supposed to be more like looking at the Marine side of the campaign with stuff like the War Pig. You know, you got that EOTech up top with the grenade launcher. You know, it was a really fun video to make, and that's one of my favorite videos for whatever reason. This is the original like Marine Call of Duty 4 M4 video that I did. I'm saying M4 a ton in this, so just get ready for that. And then I revisited it more recently, where we did more of a deep dive into the Call of Duty franchise and looking at its origins, as well as the SOP mod. So I cloned specifically the SOP mod, and I think that clone that we did more recently was more accurate, right? I had the Troy flip-up sight, because again, it's that same upper that is in the BF6, MW3, CoD4. They're all the same upper, right? But the Troy flip-up sight, flipping that thing down and having no sight, right, when you're using the Pan AV and then using that suppressor and the M203 and the leaf sight, all that stuff comes together to really complete the look of the game gun. Even if the game doesn't have a front flip up sight, you know, just folding that thing down makes it kind of look it just makes it look better from a first-person perspective. I would give that, honestly, like an 8 out of 10. If I were going to get it more correct, what I would probably do is just get a normal triangular front sight base and then chop it. That would probably be the best thing you can do. The original game is going to be hard to get it perfect because there's just no gas block at all, so you can't really do that, but I guess that would be technically the most clone correct thing you could do. Your gun just would not work very well. So that's Call of Duty 4 versus the MW2 M16A4. It's going to be the CoD4 M4 Carbine. Obviously, I think it's a better clone. It captures the aesthetic. People know what they're looking at really with both of these, but I think the CoD4 M4 Carbine, I just have a personal bias more towards that. I think it just looks better, and it's like just a more functional gun. What's next? MW2 AK versus the M16A1. I have not talked about the A1. The A1 is not a clone from a game, and it's not really a clone of real life perfectly. I would not, you know, you could mention games like Call of Duty Black Ops 1, but that gun is not set up the same way my A1 is. That is like an Air Force gun in that game. It's got like a slick side. The barrel is, the proportions are off in the game. It doesn't really look right. It's got like a duckbill or a 3-prong flash hider as well. So my A1 is not a clone of the Black Ops game, and it's not really correct for real life either because it's got some black anodized parts in the lower. The charging handle is black. You know, I have a rare breed trigger in there now, so that reduces the clone correctness. So it's not going to win any awards at like a reenactment or anything like that. I would have to change some stuff if I were to get that right. You also got little details like I'm using a crush washer instead of the washers that they would have actually been using. So it doesn't do any game 100% correct, and it doesn't do real life correct. I love the gun personally. Like if it were up to me, like it's a 9 out of 10 as far as like fun and cool factor. But as far as clone factor, it's really like a 5 out of 10. Real average, middle of the road. People know it's a Vietnam era gun, but they look at it for more than 5 seconds up close, and somebody who knows what they're doing is going to look at it and say, okay, this is not correct. So when it comes to the MW2 AK versus the A1, I'm going to have to give it to the MW2 AK. I'm not going to talk about the details of that gun yet because we haven't made that video, so you'll get to learn about the details of that gun once we do the video on it. Alright, final 4. Here we go. We don't have to do any more yapping about the guns themselves. We've already covered all of them already, so we can just go through this and check it off. Okay, MW3, I don't even want, okay, you know what, this top one, M16A3 versus Modern Warfare 2019, Mark 18, I don't even want to touch that, because that is a crazy stack. Let's talk about CoD4 M4 versus MW2 AK. Okay, this is tough, right? We've got the MW2 AK here. You guys see what it looks like. Again, I'm not going to spoil the parts for it, because it's easy. You can look it up and find out what it is, but it's part of the process. You got to play along, okay? I think that the parts that I have on the MW2 AK are like pretty dang close, and it's tough. CoD4 M4, they're both really cool. They're both really close to the games. There's a couple details here and there that are off. I would say that the edge is going to have to go to the MW2 AK because I got that Troy front flip-up sight on the CoD4 M4, and that's just not in the game. So if I want to go from like a clone purist point of view, what is more pure? The MW2 AK. I'm sorry, CoD4. I love you, but you're going to lose on this one. All right, this is tough. the M16A3 from Battlefield 3 versus the Modern Warfare 2019 Mark 18. Okay. Trying to get my biases out of this. It's going to be biased, but trying to separate myself from that bias. Okay, you look at this gun here, and you know that the color is wrong on the Daniel Defense, right? I used to have a black one, like I said, but I ended up switching to a brown one because it's a real Daniel as opposed to the black one. But if I spray painted this black, it would be basically perfect to the game. The only thing that's missing is like that lower receiver marking on this side that says military and law enforcement only. The suppressor's technically wrong as well, but the suppressor's optional. I take the can off. You've got your, let's do it actually. Okay, you take that can off, right? That's the Modern Warfare 2019 M4. I don't care what anybody says. Like that's basically perfect. Just the color of the rail's a little bit off, but functionally it's there, man. The grip is right. The magazines, the one that's in here is not right, but the magazines are right. It is, unfortunately, it's really good. Okay, now the Battlefield 3 M16. This is tough because I love this gun. I love this game, and it's really close itself, but it is missing just a couple of those features, those small details, like the rail, not like these tabs here. You know, those aren't present in game. If you want to talk about lower receiver markings, I have M16A3 marked here. In game, it's like a squiggly line. It's like a snake, is what that's all it is, just a snake. You know, I get the silhouette of it right. From a distance, you probably can't tell. However, if we're talking about those finer details, I'm gonna have to give the edge to the Modern Warfare 2019 M4. It pains me, it cuts me so deep, but that's where we are. So what do we have left? We have the Modern Warfare M4. Dude, I've said M4 so many times, I'm gonna like myself. So we've got 2019 versus MW2 AK. What's better? Okay, well, I'll give you a little spoiler here. Here's the Modern Warfare 2 AK. The muzzle device isn't right. The muzzle device in game is actually based off of a Sega 12 muzzle. So I haven't done the video yet, so I could make that more clone correct. But I think the huge hit here is going to be the receiver. This is a stamped receiver. The AK in the game is a milled. Okay, milled are more expensive than stamped. So that's why I went with the, you know, this is a Wasser, basically is the base gun. So it's got the vibe. It certainly has the vibe of Modern Warfare 2 AK, right? It looks really good. Side rail is also not perfect on this, okay? So it's got the vibe. It's more iconic. It's a better game. However, we got to be real here. And if we're going to go from the purest point of view, I'm not even a purist, but if a purist was viewing this, what are they going to say? They're going to say that the Modern Warfare 2019 M4 is perfect, because it is. That's just the reality of the situation at this point. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have your winner, the Modern Warfare 2019 M4. This is my best clone, okay? You just got to be real about it. It is missing a little bit because of that. The color of the rail, it bothers me a little bit, okay? I can't lie to you, it does bother me just a tad. I may paint it, okay? But literally everything else about the gun is like basically perfect. I love this gun. I had dreams of cloning this gun back when I played Modern Warfare 2019, and I didn't even know that much about guns. When I was shopping for like my second AR, which was a BCM, I was looking at like their 16-inch barrels with the quad rails on it, and I was like, oh, that kind of looks just like the gun from Modern Warfare. Like, I had no idea what clone correctness was. I was like, oh, quad rail, AR-15 up there? Like, oh, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna get one of those. But I didn't get one. That's how much I did not know, okay? So actually getting into the space and learning about all this stuff and doing these clones and then realizing what the Modern Warfare M4 is, okay? And then sourcing all those parts, and then Bad Attitude reaching out to me and saying, hey, I make a perfect upper and lower receiver. You know, do you want one? Do you want to do a video on it and stuff? And I was like, dude, absolutely. And it's just that upper and lower are perfect. That's what really sells it for me. And then just the fine details of this whole thing, right? You got the Magpul ASAP and the silver parts. There's some things that are lacking. I guess you could say that the stock is not perfect, because the one in the game is the LMT, and this is the B5. So the B5 has the little QD cups, whereas the LMT does not. But, you know, from a functionality standpoint, obviously, I wanted to put a sling on this and make this a little more usable. So that's why we did that. But other than that, I mean, it's basically a perfect clone, and you can look at this thing and there's no question what it is. If you played Modern Warfare 2019 at all, you know what this is. You're very familiar with it, and I think there's something beautiful about that. I appreciate you guys stopping in and watching the video, and I hope you guys got something from it. I hope it's inspired you to go out and clone. Maybe you don't want to clone, but maybe you took a little trip down memory lane and you enjoyed this little experiment that we did. I had fun doing it. And I hope to do more clones in the future. I have some exciting stuff to share with you guys very soon. I hate when influencers say that. They're always like, I have some exciting stuff I'm going to show you guys here soon. Like, yeah, sure you do. But I actually think I do. So stick with me, subscribe, and you guys will see some of the cool, fun projects I got coming up. And should be fun. So I appreciate you guys sticking around watching the video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.